heard the saying that meeting your childhood hero can sometimes be a disappointment. Well, for me, meeting the 2024 Silverado 2500 HD hasn't been that case. This thing is lived up to everything I've ever expected in an American pickup truck. Now, the big question is, does this huge behemoth suit our roads? And is it a good truck to have here in Australia? My name is Salvatore Gerace. This is Exhaust Notes Australia. Let's get into it. Priced in at just over $170,000, the Silverado 2500 HD is a lot of truck for a lot of money. However, you do get a lot of steel for that amount of money. What do I think of the design? Well, frankly, I'm in love with it. I love the design of this truck. I love this Nardo gray paint. I love these LED headlights. I love this front grille. I love the just sheer mass of this thing. Look how tall it is. Like, it's just ginormous. And then you've got this hood scoop that sucks in air to that beautiful 6.6 litre V8 turbo diesel. That is a Duramax turbo diesel that produces 350 kilowatts, 1,322 Newton meters of torque, and sends that power through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, there is no 0 to 100 figure for this because I don't think you're really going to be doing that with a truck like this, but I'll tell you this thing can pull a planet. That's how ridiculous that torque figure is. But what do you guys think about the overall front of this thing? Do you think it's too menacing? Do you think it's too intrusive? Or do you really like the look of this truck? So there's no getting away from the fact that this is a huge truck. So here's some figures for you. Just over 6 meters long, just over 2 meters wide, and just slightly over 2 meters high. It is huge. I do love the little hints on the side here, like you got this logo here, the Z71. You've also got the Duramax logo on the hood here, which is a nice touch. You've got the 2500 HD logo that's in black here. And you've got black 20-inch alloy wheels with all-terrains. One thing I don't like, but is this side step. I'd rather the retractable one. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I understand it is a truck, so you've got this thicker, more utilitarian style side step. I do hate the fact that in Australia, we have to keep this out. In the States, it actually folds away. So that's a bit of a hassle. And it looks like a shark fin. I don't think it adds any design improvement over the side. I think it's a bit of a hindrance. This also has the optional electric tonneau cover. Okay, now I would highly recommend you get this. It's a $4,000 upgrade. It just stops people from getting inside and it just looks really nice and neat. In terms of 4x4 capabilities, well, it's got 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, and it's got a rear locking differential, which you'd expect on a truck like this. And these mirrors that I almost just hit do actually come out by the press of a button to make it easier when you're towing a trailer. So coming to the rear here, you've got Chevrolet embossed into the rear tailgate, which I really do like. It looks really nice. You've got Silverado in gloss black, and you've also got LTZ in gloss black. It's a really, really nice rear on this truck. I really do like it. To make life easier, there's a step here on the side to get in, and there's a step here. You also have a light bar integrated down the bottom here, and you can attach a tow ball. Now, in terms of towing capacity, because that's what you're going to be using this truck for. With a 50mm tow ball, you can expect a 3.5 ton towing capacity. And then with a 70mm tow ball, you've got an unbraked towing capacity of 4.5 tons. Now, you also have an electronic tailgate that makes life a lot easier with a truck like this. And that roller shutter makes everything really easy as well. In terms of your cargo space in the back here, well, you just have over 1,900 liters and payload is just over 700 kilos. Now you can increase that with a GVM upgrade, which will increase the total payload capacity to just over 1,300 kilos. But be warned, you need to get a truck license to do so. So what's it like in the tray? Well, for starters, you have a spray-in tub liner. You have just over 2,000 millimeters of length. You just have over 1,800 millimeters of width. And then you just got over 1,300 millimeters between the wheel arches, which is pretty spacious, to be honest. You have tie-down hooks just here and here and here and here. You also got an LED light there, and that's about it. The unfortunate thing is you don't have a 12-volt socket, which would have been really convenient on a truck like this, but I guess there'll be aftermarket options to fit one in here. Another thing to note, guys, is, which I didn't mention, was that 4.5 ton towing capacity. Well, unfortunately, you need a truck license to do so. So again, you got to get a truck license to do that, and also increase the payload. So, bit of an annoyance. In terms of departure angle, well, you have 23.6 degrees of departure angle, and you also have an exhaust big enough to fit a cat in it. Approach angle is 28.5 degrees. And lastly, ground clearance, 251 millimeters. Now, I do have to mention, with this Silverado, you only get 3 years warranty, 3 years roadside assistance, and service intervals are every 12 months. So, bit of a letdown, since the other ones, like the Ford F-150 and the Ram, offer more warranty. But nonetheless, I still love this truck. Okay, so one thing to note before we even talk about the interior is the fact that when these trucks first get delivered to Australia, they are left-hand drive, and then they get converted to right-hand drive. And most of the time, when that is done, there are things that are a bit out of place and things just don't line up correctly. But in this, it's like it was designed to be a right-hand drive truck in the first place. I cannot fault the quality and the build quality in any aspect of this interior. It's just really well put together and looks really good. And the finishes are quite nice as well. You get a leather dash, leather on top of the doors. You get this wood grain effect on the doors here and wood grain effect on the dash. It gives it a bit more of a luxury feel than just your typical utilitarian pickup, which is a nice touch, and it actually feels really nice. And it's a nice place to be in. I do like this leather steering wheel that is heated, by the way. And I love the column shifter, really nice touch. That's like your typical truck, truckish kind of, if I don't even know if that's a word, but it's very truckish, if you get what I mean. The only problem with this is that it's very clunky, which is a bit of a letdown. In the F-150, it's very smooth, but it's not the worst thing in the world. In terms of practicality, well, guys, you have ample amount of storage. Like, you've got the door, like the bin inside the middle armrest is that big that it can fit my laptop. You've got USB-A and USB-C ports in here. You've also got this little tray that can be taken out and put back in. You've got wireless phone charging. You've got 2 cup holders big enough to fit most drinks. You've got this little space down here to put other stuff. And then you've also got door bins. Now, the door bins aren't the best, and I'll show you why. Chang, pass us that bottle. They're not big enough to fit one of these in, and most of us have these, and it's a bit of a shame. Being an American pickup, you'd think it'd fit this in there, and then you think, oh, I'll just put it in here. Well, it doesn't fit in there either. So unfortunately, it's not most practical when fitting one of these. However, you can also just shove that in there. There's plenty of room. You've also got a big enough glove box, guys, and also a top glove box as well, and a little pocket up here, I don't know, maybe to fit your phone. So, who knows? Other than that, you've got heated and cooled seats, and these seats are very supportive, and they're big enough to fit anyone in, for that matter. You also got dual climate controls. You've also got USB-C and USB-A ports here. The thing about the climate controls is they are physical knobs and buttons. Thank you. They're not stupid haptic feedback buttons. Thank God. Especially the volume knob too. Speaking of volume, you have Bose sound system, which is primo. I love the system in this. Really nice, really clear, and it's just a nice sound system in general. In terms of tech, well, you've got a 13.4 inch infotainment screen, a 12.3 inch digital driver's display with a head-up display. With the infotainment screen, you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's not full screen integration, which is really a big letdown. Nonetheless, it's really responsive and very fast. You also get a digital rear view mirror, which makes living with this truck very easy because using a standard mirror just doesn't work. You also have a sunroof and also your typical truck rear window, which opens and closes to let more airflow in, which is really nice. Then you've got your brake trailer assist here, which you can use. You also got all your drive modes here, so your 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, and auto. are just driving in order, let the truck figure it out itself. It's just a lot easier. And that's pretty much it, guys, in here. Oh, and also, again, these mirrors extend by the press of a button, which is really nice. And the seats are completely adjustable, electronically adjustable, with 2 preset settings that you can set yourself. Other than that, it's just a really nice truck to be in. Like, honestly, can't complain about the build quality, and I can't complain about the design. I really do like this Silverado. Let's jump in the back. So what's it like in the back here? Well, it's ridiculous. There is so much room in here that anyone, for that matter, can fit in here. For starters, you've got a completely flat floor, which makes it easy to sit wherever. Usually most of the time when you're sitting in the middle, right, your feet are up high because there's a transmission tunnel. Well, in this, there's not. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting on the outboard seats or in the middle, you're gonna be comfortable. There's plenty of foot room, there's plenty of knee room, there's plenty of head room. The only unfortunate thing is because the seats are so upright, it is a little bit uncomfortable. Not the worst, but just a little bit. You got your air vents down here. You got heated seats on the both outboard seats, and you got a USB-C and USB-A ports here. You've also got 2 cup holders, your pockets for putting your magazines or your iPads in. And then you've also got storage compartments behind the seat here and under the seat, which makes it really, really convenient. Then it's easy to fit a child seat, as you can see, because you've got ISOFIX anchor points down here and top tether points up the top here. Now, guys, families, if you're fitting a baby seat, it's a bit of a difference in this to most cars. So when you're fitting the top tether point, you actually have to put it through and feed it around here and clip it at the back here. So just an FYI if you are fitting a baby seat. Then you also got a center armrest with 2 cup holders. And that is about it. All right, so what's this truck like to drive? Now, many of you are gonna expect me to say it's terrible, it's so big, it's hard to maneuver, but you would be wrong. Surprisingly, this is a very easy truck to drive on a day-to-day basis. Look, you can't go past the fact that it is a behemoth. It weighs just over 3.7 tons, and you do feel it when you do get a bit excited in the corners. You do slide out of your seat. Okay, the weight in this thing is something you cannot ignore. However, driving it sensibly and dailying it, it's actually quite a really comfortable truck. It's quiet, all right? Not all the time due to that 6.6 litre V8 diesel motor, but it sounds awesome, so I cannot fault that. But there is not that much tire noise, the seats are really supportive, and it's just a great truck to drive. Now, in terms of its maneuvering around town when things do get a bit tight, that's when you notice the size of this thing. The mirrors are the first thing because they stick out so far, and then trying to turn this thing in a small, narrow street or even in a car park, you're going to be doing, instead of a 3-point turn, it's going to be more like a 20-point turn. It is freaking annoying. They're the only 2 things you notice when the size of this thing when maneuvering. In terms of its fuel consumption, that's another thing that everyone would expect to be off the Richter scale, but it's not. On the highway, you can expect around about 12.5 to 13.5 litres per 100 Ks, and I'm not joking, that's what I was getting. And then around town, you're expecting in the high, like teens. So you're like 18 to near 20 litres per 100 Ks. Like right now, we're in Annan Grove and I'm driving in the back streets and we're getting around about 15.2 litres per 100 Ks, which is pretty decent. Now, in terms of power, well, this thing's got plenty of it. It's got 350 kilowatts and it's got 1,322 Newton meters of torque, meaning getting out of sticky situations, it's very easy. You just put your foot down and that big truck motor just turns on. That Duramax motor is insane. I can't fault it whatsoever. It sounds amazing and there is plenty of torque to get you out of the stickiest of situations. In terms of safety tech, well, this truck's got more cameras than Fort Knox itself. There is a camera on every single panel of this car. So trying to get this around town where you feel like you're gonna hit something, you're surely not gonna do that because you've got so many camera angles to choose from that you can see everything around you. You've got sensors, you've got radar cruise control, you've got lane departure warning, and you've got a lot of safety tech to help you out with the trailer as well when you're hooking up a trailer with this truck. All in all, I really do like this truck and it's really surprised me using it on a daily basis. So what's my final verdict on the Silverado 2500 HD? Meeting my childhood hero. Well, has it lived up to every expectation? 100% it has. But put my personal love affair for this American pickup aside, does it serve a purpose here in Australia? Well, it's as easy as this. Buying the Silverado 2500 HD and driving around the suburbs is like having a horse in your backyard. It makes no sense. But if you're buying it and you live on a farm, however, and you're using it for the open road, and you're sometimes going off-road with it while pulling a house behind you, it makes total sense. And to be fair, it's probably the best truck for that matter. So if you live on a farm and you need to pull a house or anything for that matter, don't look any further. Go buy yourself a Silverado 2500 HD. You will not be disappointed.